Well, Anthony Agbazuere is a professor of law, Gregory University, Uturu, Abia State. He joins me in the studio now to help provide a legal perspective on the deepening political crisis in Rivers State. Prof, glad to have you join me.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's just break this thing down. Rivers Assembly wrote to the CJ to set up a 7-man panel to probe Fubara. The court has both barred the CJ, Rivers State, the clerk, from receiving any impeachment correspondence from the State House of Assembly, and has also restrained the Speaker, 32 others, including the clerk of the House and Chief Judge, from taking any steps towards this impeachment process. Now the question is, should the judiciary be intervening in an impeachment process?
That's a very good question. Thank you so much. In the first place, let me start this way by telling our audience that both the House of Assembly and the governors are creations of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The House of Assemblies are creations of Section 90. The governor of a state is a creation of Section 176. And so whatever any of them will do must be in accordance with the Constitution. Now, the powers of impeachment that the House members have are provided for in Section 188 of the Constitution. It is their right to do so. Section 188, subsection 10, provides, in fact, provides what we call an ouster clause, restricting courts from intervening. But that the courts can only, in fact, the courts can only intervene. That restriction is if they are following procedures. So the court can only intervene if it is deciphered that they are not following those provisions or procedures as provided for in the Constitution. And again, if along the line, by not still following those procedures, issues like fair hearing have been abandoned, the way you served, because you're also supposed to serve those people you want to impeach, then allow them to react. If you have not followed all of that, then it will crash. The court can nullify the case of Inakoju against Adeleke. There are so many authorities.
I was going to raise that.
Yes.
You know,
so that is it. So the courts are free to come in only and if only the procedures are not being properly followed. But if they are being properly followed, the courts will sit by and watch. And now, I don't know whether you want me to still continue with the order of court.
No.
And then address that.
Let me go further to ask you. So, it will not be right to say that the court is overreaching.
That is wrong. That is for people who do not know the law. If you know the law, for example, I'll give you an example. If that impeachment notice is presented to the Speaker, and the Speaker does not, within 7 days, serve it on the governor, it has expired. And or the Speaker does not serve it on the governor at all, and they continue. They are joking. And the court will throw it off. You have not followed the procedure. And now the court has given, and again, the court has said they should hold on. Section 287 of Nigerian Constitution provides that every order, every judgment of any court must be obeyed by all authorities, all persons throughout the Federation of Nigeria, including the Speaker, including the judges, and the Chief Judge will be having a problem with NJC if he does not comply with orders of court. He has no problem. He has no choice. The Chief Judge is the chief law. In fact, apart from the Attorney General of the state, from the judiciary angle, he's the head in that state. And in every state, chief judges of states. So long as it is, there is an order of court saying, Chief Judge, do not this, do this. And again, these people too, because of maybe limited awareness, are also saying, I read somewhere where the House members were saying, we have already served the man.
Served who? The CJ?
The CJ. Even if they have done that order, I read it. I asked one of my boys to send to me, I read it. That order is still saying that the CJ cannot take any steps. Cannot do anything.
That's what the court is asking.
Yes, that's what the court said. So that means that everything has been put on hold. Let them now return to court on the 23rd
of January.
And then that is for the motion on notice to now be argued proffer reasons to the court why that order should be set aside. Any state of lawlessness cannot be accepted. Nigeria is a state that is governed by law. And Section 1, Subsection 3 of Nigerian Constitution provides that this constitution shall be supreme. And any other law that is inconsistent with this constitution shall, to the extent of its inconsistency, become void. So, even the laws or steps that are to be made or being taken by the houses of assemblies or that Rivers House Assembly, those laws are inferior to the Constitution. So long as they conflict, you must obey. And the law has said, in fact, that so long as there is an order of court, you must obey. Section 287 of the Constitution.
So it's behooving on the legislature to hold on until the 23rd of January when the substantive issue will be heard.
Very well, they have no choice.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Now the question arises then, how do we factor the issue of separation of powers? What does the law say about one arm of government muscling the other or stopping the other from doing its constitutional work?
Thank you so much. When we talk about separation of powers,
yeah,
we also talk about checks and balances. That nothing is in its state of absolutism. Nobody is an island. There is what we call checks and balances to also checkmate that separation of powers, so that they do not go on a frolic of their own. For example, a governor could be removed by the House of Assembly. To swear in a governor, you bring the chief judge. Unless the chief judge swears in the governor is not a governor, even after being elected. Now, to appoint a chief judge, the nomination will be from Judicial Service Commission to NJC that will approve. The governor will swear the chief judge in. These are separation of powers. They're interrelated, interwoven. So this is one of those checks and balances that the judiciary is now stepping in to do. To say, look, we hear, maybe, I don't know the reasons, is when they go in for the motion of notice that they will know the reasons that were proffered before that judge gave that ex parte order. The court will not, don't forget that the Queen of Justice said that my eyes are closed.
Blind.
Yes. It's only what you come to tell me that I adjudicate upon. So, it is on that 23rd of January everybody will now hear what the court was told, and then they will react. If they have a good case, they fly. If they don't have a good case, it crashes.
All right. So, do you think going forward, or how will this impact governance? We've talked about separation of powers already, and the rule of law in Nigeria. How would this whole scenario impact governance in Rivers State, or even impacting governance in Rivers State and the rule of law?
Thank you so much. What the Rivers State House of Assembly is doing, because I am taken aback. I heard they were talking about presenting the budget. You recall that there was a sole administrator who also sent in his budget through the presidency to the National Assembly. And then that was 2025, it is gone. And then there was that interregnum where they were all asked to go home, the governor, the deputy, the House of Assembly, and then Mr. President now brought them back, pursuant to Section 305 of the Constitution. Instead of them now to calm down, they're talking about budget. The budget we are expecting should be that of 2026. Why are they quarreling? So there is also this risk. It's not too good for our rule of law, for governance in Rivers State. If they go too far, situation may arise where they may be stopped and the National Assembly will take over their legislative functions. They don't know. They were stopped for 6 months, nothing happened. They didn't do anything. So they should be careful. The two parties should remember that the Rivers people are suffering and do their job. And the sole responsibility, sole function, duties of the Rivers House of Assembly is to make good laws for the people of Rivers State. If they abandon that and keep quarreling, the Rivers people, because they are now suffering, the president and the National Assembly and the other, we'll look at the Constitution and then say, look, you have to go. National Assembly, start making laws for Rivers State, which is dangerous.
PANDEF, the forum, Pan-Niger Delta Forum, is stepping in. They've inaugurated a reconciliatory panel and giving it 2 weeks to broker truce. What's your sense of what PANDEF is trying to do, particularly as it concerns governance and the people of the state who seemingly are bearing the brunt of what is happening between the executive and the legislature?
I think one will have to commend the PANDEF and all their members for what they are doing, because they feel they are concerned, they are worried. It's commendable, but I tell you, this issue of impeachment, nothing can stop it except these faults. So they could be doing their meeting and somebody has to go home, if not for the situation now. This court order is a relief. Even if they go ahead, it's a nullity. It will not work. It's dead until after they have gone to court to explain. So PANDEF, it's commendable. Even after this exercise has failed or succeeded, there is still need for peace in Rivers State. So I commend PANDEF, I enjoin them, and I want to call on the two sides. Those people from the House of Assembly and those from the governorship and all of that, and even the minister they are mentioning, all of them should understand that they are taking Nigerians for granted and they are giving us a bad name. That is not what they are doing, is not what they were all elected to go and do. So they have to realize that their personal interest must not override the public interest. Let them give peace a chance in Rivers State. And allow that man, the governor, to be the governor. Let him rule. And then the House of Assembly member, whatever is due to them, the governor should give to them, and that's all.
All right. Prof. Anthony Agbazuere, Professor of Law, Gregory University, Uturu, Abia State. Thank you for your interesting contributions concerning what the Constitution says about the crisis in Rivers State.
Thank you so
much. Glad to have you.